Spend time with Finnish experts learning about nature, crafts, food, well-being, health, and balance. Applications are open. If interested, make an Instagram reel or TikTok showing why you may secretly be a Finn. Anyone chosen will be filmed for marketing materials. Can't buy it, but maybe you can win some happiness. Brian Van Miller, CBS News.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Flagship station for MTSU Sports.
And finally, we have Jdxl. His name is John Daniel Power. Dude is super talented. He's from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is about 30 minutes-ish southeast of Nashville.
Jdxl is John Daniel Powell, and that comes your way from Tennessee. He's only 22, but he's been smashing it on the piano since he was about 15, and now he writes with his name.
Jdxl, based in Tennessee, USA. Best to keyboard is DJ John Daniel Powell, aka Jdxl. So, professional pianist since age 15. Writes, records, and mixes his own electronic tracks. Does it really, really well. Spotted by music supremo Fred Cannon after falling off his roof.
What's up, Murfreesboro? This is Jdxl, and you're listening to my show. In the studio, I got Double A Mullane.
Yeah, hello.
We're coming at you live on 100.5 and 101.9 FM and 1450 AM, and you can listen anywhere in the world at WGNSradio.com. You can also watch us live in the studio at youtube.com/at WGNS I believe is the name of the URL.
Huh.
And, I'm still in Louisville, Kentucky. Go figure.
Attaboy.
Didn't expect to be here this long, but I am coming home for Easter weekend. Looking forward to that.
Nice.
Not to start the show on a negative note, but man, Nashville's really went to crap since I left last week. Man, golly, dark times. Had like a horrific school shooting in Nashville. RIP to the lives lost in that. That's like super tragic that happened for sure, man. It's horrible, and it's actually pretty just, I don't know what the words are, man. Unfortunate that people seem to be trying to make excuses, for what happened, trying to give reasons of why, that happened, put it on other people and pass blame instead of just calling it like it was. That's a very disturbed individual that committed those acts, and thank God for the police being so quick to react and taking care of the situation immediately.
Yeah.
Because it could have been a lot worse,
Yeah, we have to be very thankful we didn't have another Uvalde situation on our hands, because it could have gotten ugly.
Yeah, and then of course after that, there's been some really rough stuff at the Capitol. A bunch of people stormed in there, rioters protesting in the Capitol. So a lot of people are.
I'll be very curious to see if there's any arrests since, we've stormed a Capitol. I feel like we as a nation have established that is not a good thing to do. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe there's equal parts justice, but, I guess we'll see what happens.
I don't know if the, footages came out yet. I don't know if they were getting a tour through the Capitol or if they actually stormed the Capitol.
I guess
maybe a couple of years before we see the footage. I don't know, but I would imagine that these people actually stormed in.
I feel like we do. There was some footage. I never watched all of it, so I'm not going to try to pretend like I know the whole story. But it certainly felt like it was people making their way into the building that were not necessarily supposed to be in the building.
Exactly. I mean, well, judging by what they were chanting, no action, no peace. I mean, that's pretty threatening words. So I would imagine that they kind of actually stormed in there. If you're chanting something like that, I can't imagine that you just were like, oh, Let me just walk, peacefully in here.
It's tough to call yourself
saying,
a peaceful protest when you're literally shouting no peace.
Exactly. So, yeah, but anyways, man, I was just like, what the heck? I leave town, and it's just like, what is going on, man? So a lot of people are hating on thoughts and prayers, but really, everybody give your thoughts and prayers to Middle Tennessee for sure.
Well, especially to the families of because, out of all of this, 3 children have died. Like 3 9-year-olds died. And that's, that is just, it's horrible, it's evil, and I can't imagine what sort of pain the families are going through. And so I think they especially, and that's not to diminish the hurt that the people, there were 3 adults, each in their 60s, and I'm sure their families are also feeling that exact same pain. So we're not trying to diminish that at all, but there's a lot of hurt going on right now. Even if it's just 6 families that are affected, that's still probably a lot of people and a lot of hurt, and they could certainly use a good bit of thoughts and prayers here.
Absolutely, man. So anyways, just wanted to touch on that because, that's something I definitely don't want to miss over because that's and then on top of that, we had tornadoes right after that.
Yeah.
Actually, matter of fact, the community right beside my house is destroyed.
Dang.
The Kittrell and Reedyville community, which is right near my house, that tornado was probably a mile from me. So I had people calling me. I'm in Louisville. And I had people calling me saying, "Hey, are you good?" Because my parents are going to check on my house. I ended up calling my neighbor to see, make sure that everything's still there because the F4 tornado came through there and destroyed a bunch of houses and businesses and stuff right near my house.
Yeah,
so it's pretty crazy stuff, man. Like I said, just all kinds of stuff, man. Shootings, tornadoes, just feel like apocalyptic in Middle Tennessee. So
yeah,
just also want to touch on that. Pray for the families over there in the Kittrell community. I know the Kittrell Volunteer Fire Department's going to have their hands full now for sure. I was looking at there's a video of just the aerial footage of the storm damage. It's pretty horrific, man. Luckily, I don't think anyone was actually, from what I read, nobody quote me on this, but from what I read, nobody was actually killed, thankfully. But there was a lot of people injured. So it must have not been completely on the ground, because I would imagine if it was straight up on the ground in the neighborhood, F4 probably would have completely wiped them out, because that same thing. I was in an F4 tornado, and it wasn't completely on the ground. It hit the roof. So if those things are on the ground, man, it's leveling whatever house it hits.
Yeah, there's not much in the way of a structure that gets to stand up to that.
Yeah. And of course, once you get to the F5 category, that's where you're unless you're in a storm shelter, you are absolutely screwed.
Oh yeah.
Which is my biggest fear is the F5. It's just the chance of it being F5 are slim, but if it is, man, you are seriously screwed. It's almost like an atomic bomb of wind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's a mile wide. You're in it for 30 minutes.
Yeah. It's just, and it's always impressive to me how, when you actually look at what what damage tornadoes can do, how it's just wind, and yet you go fast enough with wind and it just levels literally anything. Outside of digging into the ground with a storm shelter, you're just cooked. There's not a lot you can do.
Well, that's what's crazy too, is it's invisible until it picks up the dust.
Mm-hmm.
So it's rotating wind all the way coming from the stratosphere, basically.
Yeah.
The storms, you stretch all the way into space, and then they're coming all the way to the ground. The wind travels that far, and then once it picks up the dust, suddenly it's, black and horrifying looking.
That's actually kind of interesting to think, and I guess we're glad that dust exists, because in a world with no dust or no debris that get caught up, there's just this invisible force, and you just all of a sudden just sitting there looking at a house, and all of a sudden it's just gone. It's oh, okay.
Of course, it kind of twirls the cloud down a little bit in the sky. You usually can kind of see it before
it's not straight
down.
up. dust. It is actually clouds that become a part of it, but still.
Yeah. Either way, my biggest fear is being just because I'm scared of heights already, man. I do not want to be sucked up into the sky.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no telling what you can actually be hit by when you're curled into the sky.
I'd have to imagine that if you got sucked into a tornado, you're probably dead before you land. If I had to guess, I'm sure there's somebody who has survived tornadoes that could tell us, or people that have been found after tornadoes that we could, do autopsies on to be like, oh yeah, this was not fall damage that killed them. There were many other things that did them in first.
Well, there's like pictures of, tornadoes throwing pieces of straw through a light pole.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like, it can do unthinkable things with the right velocity. It can like throw things that shouldn't go through you. I mean, imagine like having a piece of grass inside of you,
yeah, just like suddenly it just going straight through you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So, like that's like the tornado that I've been in, because if somebody's listening that's been here since Good Friday of like back in like 2010, we had that F4 tornado that went through, and that's where it hit. Which shout out to Blake, he just moved back into my house while I'm traveling to keep an eye on things, and he moves into my house, and there's a tornado right down the road from him.
Cheers.
That wiped out that community. And when I was at his birthday party back in 2010, that's where we were in a tornado together. It ripped off his roof, and we just walked out through the wall once we came out from under the stairs. But in his garage, the pieces of glass were sticking inside of the sheetrock. So it's like you couldn't pull them out of the sheetrock without it breaking because it's glass. But
it somehow went in. Yep.
Yeah, so if you were in the garage and when those windows exploded, it would have literally impaled you like ninja stars with the
You would have
glass.
been eviscerated. It wouldn't have even been a challenge for him. That's why they say you do not stand next to windows during tornadoes.
Whew. Yeah, no, thank you.
You might get cut. It's like no, you might die.
Yeah, no, that's like same thing here in like Kentucky. I'm staying at this Marriott hotel, and obviously like the whole wall in front of the bed is a window.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, when I heard there was a tornado warning, I mean, it really didn't do much here compared to Tennessee, but I went into the bathroom and just chilled until the tornado warning was over, because I'm like, dude, I'm not about to go to sleep, and then like all of a sudden a tornado comes by or something, and this glass just shatters, and then it's Blake's garage all over again, except bigger windows, because garage windows are a joke. I mean, they're like tiny.
Yes.
So. Can't imagine like a full-on wall of window.
Just shattering and coming at you at Mach whatever the heck.
Yeah. Either way, if you're listening, I'm not a fan of tornadoes. I don't play around. Like, my parents live 15 minutes from me. They got a storm shelter because our house was destroyed by one while we were out of town. It was completely picked up and thrown. So anytime there's like tornadoes, my house is definitely not a big, structurally safe home for a tornado, so I go to my parents where they got the storm shelter. Like, call me a wussy, I don't care. I'm going down the street, better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've already seen what they can do. I respect the heck out of them, and now, looky there's a tornado like a mile from my house. So I'm like, great. I think that's what happened. It was coming to my house, and it was like, oh, wait, he's in Louisville. Dang.
We were going to get him, but he bamboozled us this time.
Right. It was like, well, my dad was in one when he was a kid. It like hit his house, and then it hit our house when we were out of town. My parents used to travel, and then it hit Blake's house when I was there at his birthday party, and then now it's hitting like a mile from my house. I'm like, dang, man. And Blake had just moved in. I'm like, it's like Jonah situation or something. Like, you're supposed to go to Nineveh or something,
yeah,
and you're
holy
in Louisville?
Cow. Yeah, well, you guys have something. Like, something's going on there.
Seriously, dude. That's what it was. Is if I would have been there, too, it's just like, oh, I got him now. It was like coming over there, it's like, oh, Blake's just there. JD's not there, too. I need both of them there.
Yeah.
Gotta finish what I started.
Absolutely.
But we've got a big week coming up this week. Aside from Easter, we've got the Super Mario Brothers movie coming out.
That's going to be its own little holiday.
If anybody doesn't know, we got at the JDXL show, we got some Mario fans for sure.
Oh, yes. Significant Mario fans here at the JDXL show.
We've had friendships broken over Mario Party parties.
Oh.
In the past, growing up. The most intense Mario Party parties you could imagine where, there was a lot on the line,
Screaming, shouting, backstabbing. I mean, a modern day drama really is what those are. Like if you filmed that, you could put them on the box office and you'd make top dollar.
Absolutely, dude. It would go viral in a heartbeat. And also too, I got to say, Mario music in the games is just like 10 out of 10. I mean, all the Nintendo franchises, but that's honestly like partly what got me into making music is just Nintendo music's just off the chain.
Nintendo music is incredible, and like they managed to make it so thematically fit yet so unique and so interesting, and it's just like, man, each game is its own adventure and the music takes you on that journey with it. I believe we've talked extensively about Nintendo music before, but it's just so good.
Yeah, I mean, video game music as a whole is what got me into it.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about it definitely before on the show, Spyro the Dragon, watching Stuart Copeland make the music for it, how he was programming it on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. So it's kind of what got me into it. But yeah, the Mario music, I mean, iconic, very unique. I don't feel like there's ever been any other, like you never hear another song and say, that sounds like Mario, It's like only Mario sounds like Mario.
Yes. Yeah, if you play Mario music, you know Mario. Like, the music starts playing, and you're just like, oh, yeah, this is Mario. Like, I'm not going to necessarily be able to pinpoint the exact game, but I'll be able to, like, if you play music, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, this is Mario. Here we go.
Yeah. I'm just excited for the Jack Black, Tenacious D, Bowser song that we're definitely going to have.
Has to be. I'm going to be curious about the songs in general because there's a lot of talk going around about how Illumination tried to do what Illumination does and tried to make it like that super modern where it's like, oh man, we're doing all the silly goofy jokes that aren't actually applicable to Mario, like the silly goofy humor that is really cringy to most audiences, almost turned it into a Minions thing, and Nintendo had to hard step in and just be like, you guys are not going to do any of that, you are following the script. So I'm going to be curious to know how true that was, if it is, and if not, how much Illumination nonsense we get in this Mario movie.
Well, I hope not too much if it's cringy.
Yes, true to that. I think there'll be some cringy moments. I don't think there'll be that many cringy moments.
I was going to say, it's actually pretty amazing, too, the backstory with, the guy that voices Mario on the games. Mm-hmm. He actually holds the record for, most video games, voicing it. I mean, he's been voicing it since it started.
Mm-hmm.
I guess since Mario 64.
Yeah.
Which was, or I guess on the main console or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he really made any noises on the... Oh, I guess he did the commercials or something, but he's been doing...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say he's been doing it for, forever.
Yes.
You probably know his name. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, I know who he is, and I know vaguely what it's about, but I don't really have a good remembrance of who he is. I just know,
he said he was on vacation, and his friend just texted him and said, "Hey, man," because he was a voice actor or whatever, and his friend just texted him and was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm at the beach." And he's like, "Dude, there's this game console coming out, and they're doing this video game voicing." He's like, "You got to go try out for it."
Yeah.
So he's like, what the heck? So he goes over there. He gets over there kind of the end of the day, and the guy walks out, and apparently he'd been having voice actors all day, and he just was like, "Oh, we're done for the day." And he's like, "Oh man, I just got here," and he's just like, "Okay, man, show me what you got." And he's like, "I guess I can listen to one more." And he goes in there, and he's just like, "It's me, Mario," and just started going in, and the dude's just like,
"Oh
my gosh, this is what we need."
Yeah.
and then that dude's entire career, over 100 games, dude. Like he has the record for most games of voicing.
Well,
so he's basically had the biggest career off of just that one character.
Yeah, I mean, dude, as far as like voice actors go, is a legend. Like that's huge and so impressive. The fact that you can do that, like
he is Mario.
Like
he does that. You know that voice, that sound that Mario does whenever he's like off balance, and he's like whoa, 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 like that. He does, like, he made that, dude. Like, just straight up made that up. And it's like, wow, you are a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Just like musically, them doing the cinematic versions of the songs, and just like I said, dude, Tenacious D. Like, we know that they're gonna have to remix something on the post credits.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I already know there's gonna be a Bowser song or something where he's playing electric guitar or something.
Yes. He's gonna do the whole Jack Black, like he's gonna do some of that at least. Like we're gonna get one of those, guaranteed.
Absolutely, dude. I saw since we're on the topic of movies, I did see Dungeons and Dragons Friday night.
Yeah,
that was actually pretty good.
It's pretty fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really funny. Had good action. I mean, I thought overall it was a good movie. I feel like it had like a little bit of a slow start, but not too bad.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very decent movie.
I give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think if you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons in any capacity, you are going to have a blast with this one.
Yeah, and I give John Wick 4 the week previous. I give it like probably a 9 out of 10, mainly because of the choreography sequences.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't like it quite as good as the third, second, and first one. I think it's my least favorite out of them. But it was
because
really good.
And I don't know if we talked about this on the air before, but it just kind of felt like it was almost like, wow, we're just kind of like really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, like we're really extending the disbelief portion. Like, holy cow, we are really like pushing the boundaries of what's possible with the human body. Like, it felt like John Wick took so much abuse and was just like, okay, moving right along. And it's like, nah, that's not something that you move right along from.
Yeah, it's like the whole movie he was like taking it, but then it's the one movie that he couldn't actually take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the other movies are realistic with it, and he probably still should have like not been able to survive, and then, you know, he somehow takes it.
Exactly.
So it's it's interesting, but I still give it like a 9 out of 10, and then the other ones being a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is still like a great movie. I just got to watch it again. It was a lot to take in that one.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Took a lot of turns I didn't expect.
A little bit of nonsense for sure.
But got Easter weekend coming up, and I was going to talk about too. We got Sailor Brothers that always have their creative. Was it Dinner with Dreamers? I almost said my old label's name. Creative and Dreamers. Dinner with Dreamers network parties that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Where we go to the different places, the Log Cabin Party or the Johnny Cash Farm and all that, and they hosted the Life Fest music festival 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually making a movie. They've teamed up with Angel Studios that's been making the self-funded The Chosen or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
TV show about Jesus' life. They've teamed up with Angel Studios, and they're actually doing a movie called, I believe it's His Only Son, I believe is the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually already been predicted by Hollywood to be in the top 3 rankings over the next couple weeks.
Oh, nice.
As far as revenue goes.
Nice.
So they're expecting big things from it because Hollywood's even predicting it to be, in the top 3 movies. So I thought that was pretty sweet.
That is very sweet.
It'll be cool when it actually happens, but it's crazy that, for Hollywood to admit that a movie about, a Christian movie to be in the top 3 is actually like, okay.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's pretty significant. That's awesome.
I think they're mainly saying that because The Chosen showed their first 3 episodes of season 3 in the theater, and it did really, really well.
Very well, yes.
I think because of how big Angel Studios is, I think they're expecting that movie, considering they have their hands tied into it, that it's going to be a huge project.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it may well be. I mean, as you said, they've pretty much everything they touch not turns to gold, but definitely in the Christian community, they're very highly thought of. And let's be perfectly honest, there's a large Christian community out there that's looking for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, shout out to Kenny and Kyle Sailors. It'll be cool to watch them doing a cinematic movie that's actually like something we can go see in the. I mean, they've had movies in theaters, but not like globally in theaters. A lot of times when you got friends that do independent kind of films, like that, it might be in some theaters, but not all of them. So for it to be like a cinematic movie like that that's in like every theater globally and actually hitting a ranking like that, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Just be like,
awesome.
Yeah, like I know the guys that helped film this,
Yeah.
It's like, that's dope.
Like, oh, how convenient.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool when your friends are doing stuff like mainstream that's doing really well, and it's, a positive message as well. Especially in a time where people are going out and trying to just kill innocent kids and stuff like that. It's probably not a bad thing to have a positive movie like that out there.
Yeah, any sort of positivity that you can put out into the world right now is going to be a bonus.
For sure, man, for sure. But, then obviously far off from there, in May, I'll be plugging this probably for the whole month. We've got May 10th is the next Spire Entertainment. Bill Zufeld's one of our sponsors on the show. He's doing another Spire Entertainment songwriters event at the Johnny Cash Farm. So you can go ahead and purchase your tickets for that if you want to participate. You break off and write a song, and then you perform it. And Kyle and Kenny from Sailor Brothers Entertainment will be doing their Dinner with Dreamers event at that as well, teaming up with Spire. So there should be, considering the Huffington Post featured their last party that they did at the farm last summer, I would imagine that this time, there'll probably be several thousand people. So we'll be writing songs and then performing it in front of a couple thousand people.
Nice.
So it'll be pretty sweet.
You love to see it.
So it's everything's just combining into one.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy just how going to those parties, though, like over the last, 6-7 years, I've like met so many people that like there was like the Opry, Grand Ole Opry like award ceremony or something, and like 2 different people that I've like been at events with and know pretty well, been to multiple events with, like, they performed on stage, like, at the same event as me and stuff. They both like won awards at the Grand Ole Opry event, and it's just like, it almost makes it seem like, is this the only people that are in Nashville? Not saying that they're not talented and deserve the awards. It's just kind of like weird when you like run in those circles, and then it's just like, is that like the whole population of Nashville is just like at these parties I'm going to? But to be fair, everybody at those parties is like usually a lot of really talented people, so you're hanging out with like a ton of like really talented artists and stuff at those parties. So
yeah,
it's not surprising, but it's just kind of funny that like I've got, because like those parties are huge, but like I've got like a tighter circle. Like there's the people that are kind of like the prominent goers of those parties over the course of several years, and it's like those 2 people happen to be like in this particular clique of people that I'm like real involved with. So it's just kind of like what are the odds? Like they both won an award at the same thing at Grand Ole Opry, when there's probably thousands of people that are in that genre.
Yeah.
Or hundreds of thousands of people like doing, like, because I mean, really that's like globally, I think Grand Ole Opry is kind of not just a Tennessee thing. I think it's like, possibly national. So
yeah.
But makes the world seem small when that happens.
Oh, sure. Yes, it does.
But everybody, stay safe. I think we got some more storms coming through, so I think it's going to be a pretty crazy spring this go around.
I do believe so.
If you haven't listened already, go tune in to Florida Man Cared For Me. We still got Cyanide out on all platforms.
Yeah.
They're all 3 real big bangers, and there's going to be more music to come.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
We now return to regular programming on News Radio WGNS.
I'm Brian Barrett. The National Weather Service out of Nashville has had meteorologists in storm-battered portions of Middle Tennessee surveying damage. The preliminary damage from the Saturday morning storm that hit Rutherford County was completed late Sunday afternoon. Damage reports from the tornado which entered Rutherford County around Eagleville was an EF1 and then lifted while the storm continued onto the other side of I-24. The storm then recycled, growing into an EF2 tornado with winds of 130 miles an hour, causing the damage in Reedyville. The storm is believed to have been a long-track tornado traveling several miles. At one time, an EF3 responsible for killing 9 people in McNairy and Hardin County had damage too. It then touched down in Wayne and Lewis counties, doing EF2 damage. It lifted over Murray County before causing EF1 damage in Marshall and northern Bedford County, and then moving into Rutherford County. According to the National Weather Service tornado statistics, with the touchdown early Saturday morning here, there have been 43 tornadoes since 1950. That's the 4th highest in the state. Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr and Sheriff Mike Fitzhugh will be on WGNS on the action line beginning at 8:10 to update the public on the tornado that destroyed Reedyville over the weekend and caused damage in other parts of Rutherford County. This reminder as well, Rutherford County schools will be closed on Monday. County schools are taking a public safety day. That means no children report to school, but all staff will report at normal time. I'm Brian Barrett, WGNS News.
The Good Neighbor Network, on air and online at WGNSradio.com. Rutherford County's most trusted source for local news.
We're talking with Betty Atterbury.
If I was talking to one of my friends, which I have been, I strongly recommend to come to Adams Place. For one thing, they're 5-star. They've got a very good reputation. I was here several years ago in the rehab part. I really like Adams Place.
I'm Terry Deal. Call me for more information about Adams Place. 1927 Memorial Boulevard, across from Walmart.
Here at Bud's Tire, we make buying Michelin tires simpler. I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We offer a straightforward approach to service, including nationwide warranties with every purchase. Stop in today to see our full lineup of Michelin and BF Goodrich tires. For whatever you drive, Michelin and BF Goodrich have a tire to fit any need. Bud's Tire Pros, hassle-free, guaranteed. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Where is the best barbecue in town? At 1920 East Main, the best barbecue for miles around is in 1920 East Main. You can buy it by the pound, sandwich, platter, or plate. No matter what you choose, it will taste great. You can come with a friend, by yourself, or with a date. Just Slick Pig Barbecue. Barbecue pork, beef, or chicken, Brunswick stew, great sides, lunch specials, down-home atmosphere, and they cater. Slick Pig Barbecue, it's the best.
Good Neighbor weather. A chance for some rain showers overnight, staying cloudy with a low around 51. Rain showers likely early on Monday, then cloudy with a high of 69, and cloudy and 58 throughout Monday night. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster on News Radio WGNS. Currently it's 57 degrees.
Listen each weekday morning at 9 o'clock for the Roundtable here on News Radio WGNS. Interesting hosts and guests with the news, views, politics, sports, and people that are shaping Rutherford County. Here on News Radio WGNS.
Networks presents Coast to Coast AM. Now, here's your guest host, Richard Serrett.
Coming to you live from my home studio in Old Thornhill, just north of Toronto, George McRae from 74 and Rock Your Baby. South African pastor Siva Moodley died in 2021, but his body was only laid to rest this month, after spending almost 600 days at a mortuary because his family and parishioners were expecting him to come back to life. Siva Moodley, the founder of the Miracle Center in Gauteng, north of Johannesburg, died on August 5th, 2021, after falling ill. However, instead of making preparations for his funeral, his family simply left his body at a mortuary, awaiting his resurrection. His wife and other members of the family came to the mortuary to pray for his return, but they stopped coming a few months after his death and refused to give their consent for Moodley's burial or cremation. In the end, the only option available for the mortuary was legal action against the family. You can read more about this bizarre story in the news section up at coasttocoastam.com. Join George Norrie on Saturday evening, May the 27th, at the amazing Granada Theater in The Dalles, Oregon, as he invades Wasco County for a jam-packed night of fun and conversation. Special guests live and on stage include UFO abductee Travis Walton, Animal Planet's Bigfoot hunter Matt Moneymaker, and astronomer Stephen Cates, Dr. Sky. The night will also feature a live band, a salute to our veterans, and a live Q&A at the end of the show. Tickets and information are available at grenadatheaterthedalles.com or by calling 815-993-6585. Of course, you could just go to coasttocoastam.com and look under events in the menu. When we come back, more of my conversation with whistleblower and targeted individual Michael Fitzhugh Bell, right here on Coast to Coast AM.
Tax season can be taxing on your identity because all your personal information is all in one place, getting emailed, shared, and possibly exposed to identity thieves. Tax forms can be like one-stop shops for ID thieves, which means it can be dangerously easy to steal your identity.